Welcome to Fockbuster, everybody. I'm your host, Alex Focker Parkerson, and welcome to this month's edition of April's Fockbuster, Episode 3. Can you believe that? We've done it, guys! And thank you guys for tuning in. We're having a blast doing it. Thank you. Continue supporting us, continue watching us, spending time with us. Share us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all the Twitters, everything. And you'll be entered automatically into Mrs. Doubtfire, everybody's favorite Ron Williams, in one of his classic roles. It's a good summer flick. Highly recommend. But this month, we've got some new releases. We got the horror selections. We got some throwbacks. We even have a new animation station with Gary McCheese and I. So stick around, enjoy, or don't. Last month, we gave away the Ghost in the Darkness. We want to give a big shout out to Victor Ward. He won last month's contest. We ask that you just follow him on Twitch. This is his address right here. Big fan of the show and a big fan of us. So check it out, enjoy, and next month, maybe this one's y'all's. Of April, I saw 3 movies this month. The first of which was Lost City, starring Channing Tatum and Sandra Bullock. Typical little rom-com adventure film. Has a good cast in it, some fun scenes with Brad Pitt, but overall, I found it more of a phone scrolling movie. You just find yourself just kind of watching in the background. Kind of fun. Overall, I give it a 6. Check it out though on Paramount Plus, streaming next month.
What do hot dog fingers, googly eyes, fanny packs, raccoons controlling humans all have in common? The movie Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. This movie has it all. Never before have I felt so seen by a movie. I laughed, I cried. There's a talking rock scene. This is probably one of my favorite casts. The filming, the editing is just amazing. A long movie, totally worth it. Highly recommend it.
For this month, I saw The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, starring Nicolas Cage, Pedro Pascal, and as well as Tiffany Haddish Radish. I enjoyed this. Probably one of my favorite films of the year. A huge surprise. Such a bro comedy, bro movie. Nicolas Cage is probably 4th movie best behind Con Air, The Rock, and of course Face Off. But a great time. Go see it with your friends, your family. Hell, go see it with everybody. It's such a good movie. I give it a solid 9.5 out of 10. Maybe I'll take this guy next time.
We've got one. Here is our first ever duo review. We saw X. I know in this one, who is it? It's T.I. West, right?
Ty West.
We
went over to Innkeepers last month.
I saw The Innkeepers after last month's episode, and I gotta say, man, honestly, it was a good movie. Like you said, it's a good slow burn. So I'm going into X thinking, yeah, this is gonna be a good slow. This was not. This was not a good slow burn, my people.
It was almost like a roller coaster from the beginning of Ish going down.
Yeah, I'm still sitting here and I'm like, what did I see? Forewarning, men out there, might not be the right movie to take your wife to on date night. It is absolutely a softcore horror movie.
Absolutely. I agree with you there, Andy. Take your father to see it. He'll love you.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's a very graphic.
Take your mother who's questioning things right now. She'll love you too.
No, it's a wild roller coaster. It's just wild. You got Jenna Ortega in it. You got Harold. You got Mia Goth in it, who's great. And Kid Cudi. Let's just be honest. He gave a great performance in that movie. You got to see a lot of Kid Cudi in that movie.
A lot of Kid Cudi.
A lot.
Harold, why don't you touch me like you used to?
Okay, honey, my heart.
I'm gonna see it again. I'm probably gonna buy it. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna give it the McCheese 10 of 10 because I'm still flabbergasted. I don't know what I saw, but it's cinematically beautifully done.
I'm going to give it a solid 9. I definitely think it was Ty West's better movies, in my opinion. I like how fast the action was. I also love the hidden secret that there's a prequel to this one in the editing bay as we speak that should be released hopefully by the end of this year, if not early next year. You know how these films can be.
That's fun news.
That is fun news. Fun news alert! Anyway, go check it out. It should be coming to streams. It's already streaming on most platforms, but I believe it comes out in May, later in May. So pick it up, enjoy, and remember, Harold! Next up, I got Chris Ball coming in from the sidelines. He's going to give you Full Metal Jacket, one of his favorite films of all time, and a great overall war movie of all time. Enjoy.
We're going to talk about Full Metal Jacket, one of my favorite films ever. Has a 38-minute intro. The most realistic, and I'm from boot camp scene you've ever seen. All of the language was before this era, before this time. I experienced plenty of this kicking, baking, decorating. You ain't taking none of your Jane Sport backpack to boot camp linguistics, and I loved it. Everything about boot camp was awesome, from the shaving of the head, the being berated by your company commander with the smoky hat. Everything about that film was authentic, and that's why it resonated with so many young people that have been through boot camp and have been through that experience in the 5 branches, Navy, Air Force, Army, Marines, and Coast Guard. It definitely resonated with those folks and folks who had heard those war stories and boot camp stories but hadn't experienced it themselves. That was the best part of the film. I think everyone enjoys looking at our guy from Weapons of War, from the A&E specials, being the company commander at that time with his smoky hat on, berating everyone, 7.62 millimeter Full Metal Jacket will always resonate in our minds. That was a moment in time. It was history. I love the narration. The darkness of the film, the second half of the film took a completely different path when guys were in country in Vietnam in that era in the late 60s and 70s when they were being filmed, and it was, the whole spitting on babies and baby killer, and it was very much upheaval in American counterculture. The modern movie camera was being featured in news specials, etc., and that's very much how the Republic of Vietnam won the war during that period of time. It was just amazing. A very historically accurate take on boot camp and how a soldier is supposed to feel. The trials and tribulations, the up and downs of war, how you feel about death, how you feel about doing your country's duty versus your own civic duty were all called into question in that film, called into play. And it's just a very, very special film. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you going out and seeing it. If you haven't planned on enjoying the service or serving your country that way, I highly recommend you watch that film. It gives you some insight into what you could potentially expect before the war effort and then maybe even post-war effort. So I definitely highly recommend it.
One of my favorite films of all time, horror-wise. 13 Ghosts. You may remember this from back in the 2000. I think it even came out Halloween of 2001, so who could remember that time? Directed by Steve Beck, who did Ghost Ship, which a lot of people are also fans of, including myself. But it also stars Shannon Elizabeth, Matthew Lillard, and Tony Shalhoub. Tony Shalhoub's wife dies. It's inherited this awesome glass house from his brother who died. Air quotes. Thank you, Grogu. People die very bloody deaths, and it's just an overall great film. One of my favorite Halloween films to always throw on. I know a lot of people love this movie. It's got some great effects in it. Great little score to it as well. And who can forget some great, great violence from the Juggernaut himself. For my next pick, I chose the 2021 Halloween Kills, a very divisive film that seems to leave on either you hate it, you love it, or it was alright. I'm on the fan of I loved it. I thought it was a good sequel to Halloween. You gotta remember these films are trying to do something that they replicated 40, 50 years ago. So it's gonna be really hard to do that with the same magic that it's had all of our lives growing up. With that said, I urge you guys to give it a chance with an open mind again. It's a very good film. It has some great kills, great opening sequence of Michael Myers taking down firefighters. Great little ending too with the director's cut that leads it for the next one, the final one, Halloween Ends, coming out in October of 2022. That it sets you up for a good showdown between Laurie Strode and Michael Myers. Enjoy. Or don't. For our next feature, I chose the 2001 Hannibal. Grogu was not a fan of this one, but I actually am. It's your sequel to Manhunter, Red Dragon, Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal Rising, and then we finally get to this. 2001, Ridley Scott directed it, great cinematography, a lot of good parts, there's a lot of pros, but there's also a lot of cons if you're familiar with this one. But after 20 years of not seeing it, you know what? It's not that bad. Julianne Moore does a great Clarice Starling voice, Anthony Hopkins is Anthony Hopkins, and Gary Oldman is a maked up Mason Verger who just wants to kill Hannibal Lecter, who eventually gets eaten by pigs, so who doesn't want to see that? And then we also have the always amazing Ray Liotta, who, spoiler alert, eats his own brain. And who doesn't want to see that either? Overall, you know, not bad for a 2001 horror film that could have been a lot better, but it was a horrible book to try to rip from. So it was one of those where the book is way better than the movie. However, give it a chance. Enjoy. For my next pick, I chose the 90s classic Angels in the Outfield from Disney, starring Danny Glover, Christopher Lloyd, and whoever else the kids were. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, that was the kid. That was Joseph Gordon-Levitt? Oh my gosh, look at this, on the spot. Anyway, as a non-baseball fan, I'm a huge fan of this film. And who can remember the amazing part of the movie at the end when everybody just starts going, "It's God's fingernail." Give it a check out, beginning of the season. One of my recommendations in terms of sports. Highly recommend. Enjoy.
Who doesn't love baseball? It's April. Opening day was not too long ago. Let's go Braves. World champions last year. This month I chose Field of Dreams for your classic throwback. It's got Kevin Costner, it's got Amy Madigan, it's got Ray Liotta, but this time instead Ray Liotta's not getting his brains eaten out, so guess what? And they got a little nice change of pace on this one. A little PG version of Ray Liotta. Also, music done by James Horner. Who doesn't love some music by James Horner? It's just so beautiful, not like my singing. Written and directed by Phil Alden Robinson. Check it out. This month in April, I'm bringing you a brand new segment called The Animation Station. And I'm bringing you the first animation. It's my all-time favorite. Growing up as a kid, it's Steven Spielberg's We're Back. And guess who did the music for this guy too? It's James Horner. No other than the guy that we just talked about in Field of Dreams. Also in it, you've got a 90s comedy trove of treasures in this with Jay Leno, John Goodman. You've got Martin Short, Rhea Perlman. This is an absolute treasure. You really can't, it's not streaming anywhere. You can't find it. You got to go on Amazon to buy it. I suggest getting the updated one in Blu-ray format. It's sadly not in 4K, but you cannot go wrong with this. Your children need to see it. You need to rewatch it. Everyone should see We're Back, a dinosaur story.
For the Animation Station feature, I got the 1996 classic Beavis and Butthead. 25 years ago, these two finally gave us the big screen movie that we all deserved, and I look forward to this summer when they come out with a new one. And then you have Beavis and Butthead, whose TV gets stolen. They end up having to go to Vegas and play the slots with Cloris Leachman. They go to the Hoover Dam. They go to the Washington Monument. They even meet Chelsea Clinton, who ends up kicking Butthead out of the White House, and it's quite amazing. Starring Bruce Willis and Demi Moore when they were still together back then. One of the funniest animated films of all time. Enjoy.
And for my last little piece for the Animation Station, I'm going to bring you Death Note. Also, my stream for the month. We're gonna kill two birds with one stone on this one. Death Note, not the movie on Netflix, although I do suggest you watch the movie first. It will bring your interest in it just like mine, but after you watch the movie, dive into the anime series on Netflix as well. It's absolutely amazing. The story, the characters, the way they build and develop everything. You can tell I'm at loss at words. So all I'm just gonna say is check it out. It's on Netflix.
So last month I had a big relationship with Snake Plissken. This month, I just couldn't help myself. Executive Decision, as well as 3,000 Miles to Graceland. Two great Kurt Russell films from the early 2000s. Executive Decision has an all-star cast. In it, you have Kurt Russell saving the day from a hijacked 747 as it heads towards Washington, D.C. with Halle Berry, Oliver Platt, Steven Seagal, John Leguizamo, just an overall great cast. And whereas 3,000 Miles to Graceland, you got Kurt Russell dressed up as an Elvis impersonator with Kevin Costner, robbing casinos, and double crosses, young Courtney Cox, David Arquette, list goes on and on. Just an overall, some great Kurt Russell flicks, great action flicks, some great classic cult action films. I don't know why I keep saying cult classic films, but there's some great Kurt Russell films that deserve to be seen again this year. Enjoy. For my next choice, I chose the classic 1996 Titanic. As you can see, I am not a fan of this film. It is one of my least favorite films of all time. In it, everybody knows this movie. It's been 110 years since the sinking of the Titanic on April 10th, 1912. But, you know, 110 years later, it's still great to watch the sinking. Got a great star of a cast: Billy Zane, Leonardo DiCaprio, Kate Winslet, Kathy Bates. List goes on and on. Some of the most quoted lines of all time. I've got a child! King of the world! Draw me like one of your French girls.
Draw me like one of your French girls.
Some iconic lines that just makes you feel good to scream out loud, like, you jump, I jump, Jack!
You jump, I jump!
Check it out again. Like I said, such an awful movie. Enjoy.
Every night in my dreams I see you. In the 8th grade, we could go to the movies and see blues. It's true! It's true.
Everybody remembers Clerks and Clerks 2, the Kevin Smith movie from the 2000s. That was one of the great sequels of all time. In it, you have the guys working at a fast food restaurant, movies, and in it, they just shoot stuff all day as Dante heads out and moves on with his life. You get to see some such iconic scenes as One Ring to Rule Them All.
This is my impression of those movies. Oh, walk around this. I love the animosity between the Star Wars fans and the Lord of the Rings fans, because there was such a heavy Star Wars influence, and pop culture changed in the, 15 years since the first Clerks? This is a movie we're nostalgic for now that was nostalgic for the first movie, so it's like meta nostalgia.
Ulta nostalgia. You have Jay and Silent Bob in it, and who can remember the scene of when, what's that song, Buffalo Bill, and he tucks it, the tuck horses. But it's just an ultimately a great movie. So hilarious, with some great classic lines, some great banter, such a good Friends movie, and who knows, partake in it if you want. Stay tuned and enjoy, or don't. Oh, I think I wanna know ya. Yeah, boy. $15, little man. Put that shit in my hand. If that money doesn't show, then you owe me. My jungle love. I think I wanna know ya. Yeah, what?
You guys outside screw up more and stay in the top of the line.
Think I wanna know ya. Yeah.
film, they couldn't shut up about Clash of Titans. Then in Jay and Bob Strike Back, it was Morris Day. They're obsessed with a lot of things in Clerks 2. Like, let me help you out of your chair, Grandma. Let me help you out of your chair, Grandma. Grandma, what was it like to be on a holiday night? Who's the better team? The Revolution? Time. My jungle love.